Doing a little follow-up video on the homemade bushcraft knife. Did the nice knife. I really like the way it turned out. I'm happy with it. Naturally, now the next step is a sheath, and yes, I'm using leather, so don't anyone shoot me. The knife is going to sit here roughly like this. It's going to fold over. This flap right here is going to go in. The side will come over, sew down right on top of it. It's going to give me a nice sheath, and it's going to give me a pocket right here. I mean, it's not for a pencil, but I guess if you wanted to, you could put a pencil in there. This is a sleeve that's going to hold a fire steel. Essentially, what's going to happen is I'll finish cutting this line right here, and then this tab off right here, leaving me with this piece and this with this tab on it. I'll use the scrap to fill in a spacer in these areas. Basically from here, one in there, and then essentially right in here. So an L-shaped one right here. There'll be nothing here because when this folds over, this will account. Excuse me. And then a piece right here. So what's going to happen is there'll be a solid piece of leather right there, so that the blade won't constantly go in and cut up against the stitches, and it also gives you a little bit of thickness to help account for the blade thickness, the thickness of the sheath, and really gives it a more substantial look and feel on the sheath. One thing I'll tell you about cutting leather: keep a fresh edge on your blade. Especially if this was expensive leather, you don't want to run the risk of having a ragged edge or a ragged piece of leather. You want to have it clean as humanly possible. Gives you a much nicer finished product. I kind of like, just because it kind of fits with the whole leather and rustic look, there's a Latin quote, proverb rather than, or whatever you want to call it, that I'm going to put on here. But instead of just putting it in Latin and writing it on here, I found a place on the internet that will transfer your text into rune, R-U-N-E. Like if you've ever seen any of those old movies where they have those hieroglyphics looking letters, I understand that it's not real. It just looks neat. It's just a neat looking aspect of it. And when I print it out, I'll show you exactly what it's going to look like. Actually, it looks like this. I'm not sure if you can pick this up. Right there, there's the runes. What that says is, there's a little space between each word. That's one word. There's the other. It says cooking supplies. And this is just a little practice thing. There's nothing special about it. I'll show you real fast. Really, it holds holds 3 of these. And what you would do with these, you'd put spices: salt, pepper, garlic, just a couple things to carry with you. Goes like this. I wax this. This leather was used to make this. This is kind of what this is going to end up looking like. It's going to be stitched around the side. I'm going to do a little bit of a neater job. This was a practice run just to see how I can maneuver through the leather, not the letter, and how it would work if I tried to burn in inscriptions here. The dumb thing I did was put it on after it was curved, which was really difficult. I'm going to do it flat this time. I'm going to put it laid out exactly where I want, and then be sure it lines up perfect. But this came out good. I'm kind of happy with it. My daughters love it, and when we go camping this summer, they'll put some stuff in here and they'll run around and have their little cooking supplies kit that I made for them. You can see how just regular wax really gives this thing a very solid feel. This is like, it feels almost like plastic. And that process is not all that difficult. Basically what you do is, when the product is finished and you're happy with the way it looks, you heat the leather up, get it warm. That opens the pores up. Dip it in the wax, let it drain off, put it back in the oven, and let it heat up, and it's just going to soak on inside. You want the wax inside the leather. You don't want it coating the leather. Coating the leather is just it'll flake off, it'll chip off, the heat will make it sweat off. You want it to soak inside. It's going to change the consistency of the leather. It's tricky, and I'll show you a little bit about that later. Again, another one of my how-to videos, yet I'm doing this for the first time myself, so it's not technically a how-to. It's like all my how-to videos, it's how to figure it out, not how to do it. So anyway, I'm going to finish cutting here, and when we come back, we should have all the pieces ready. Okay guys, well, we're back. What I've done is I've cut the basic shape of the sheath here, and then I've cut the spacers that are going to go in the various areas here. You'll see I've got them, oh, you may not see, I've got them labeled right here, both with a label and a couple of symbols, and they correspond to A, B, and C here. It's not too critical. I mean, I know it seems relatively obvious, but I did kind of cut these in place, so I want the cut seams to be as close as I possibly can have them. If there's a wave here and it got translated here, I wanted to keep those together, just because I don't want to do a whole lot of trim when this is over with. The closer to a finished edge I can get, the neater it's going to be. It's kind of overkill, but if you take each step as this is the last stage in the process, it's got to be perfect now. By the time you get finished and you get to the end, you'll find you have a cleaner project done. And that's true with no matter what it is you're doing, from I don't care, painting a room to making a sheath. Take each step and get it to as close to perfection as you possibly can, to make it easier for you in the long run. So here's a quick mock-up. What's going to happen, I've got my knife here, you're going to have a piece that's going to get cemented in here, a piece that'll get cemented here, and a piece that will get cemented here like this. These are going to act as the spacers to allow a little bit of room. Blade's going to touch there and not cut on the stitches. This piece is going to fold over like this and get cemented there. Once those pieces are cemented in place, they'll be held together temporarily. They'll be held together permanently with the cement. I'll run a bead of cement across the whole job here, fold it over, let that sit. When that's nice and dry, I'll go in, I'll drill my holes, and then I'll run the sinew, the artificial sinew, through here to stitch everything together. Two things that's going to happen in the interim. There in the back, I'm going to have a lat similar to this, and it might actually even be this after I trim it up. I'll have a piece of leather sewn in the back here, cemented and sewn in the back here, probably do a box stitch. I'll have a D-clip that's going to go on, fold it over like this, and then you'll have your D-clip sitting right here, so you can attach your latch to it and hook it onto your belt. It's hard to explain. Basically, there's going to be a D-clip that goes through here like this, okay, and then there'll be another leather strap kind of sitting in a like that. This part, this is your loop. Your belt would run through here and come out this way like here, and there'll be a clip, little spring clip right there that'll lock into the D-clip. This is so you can take it on and off. It's a dangler sheath is the style that I'm going with. You should not be looking at that. That's another project. Alright guys, well, I had to place the order, get the glue, wait for it to come in, and this is what I ordered. I got it from Tandy Leather. I'm going to leave a link below in the comments so you can get your own if you need to. Basically what this is contact cement for the leather, as discussed. Okay guys, well this about covers it. That's all I'm going to do right now. I'm going to let the let this tack up. Here it is. Just came out of the oven. Just came out of wax. The wax is going to take a little time. It's still actually even warm to the touch. The wax is going to sit and soak inside this leather. Give it a much better. It'll actually end up looking more like this. It'll lighten up a little bit once the wax cures in there. And if it doesn't cure into my liking, then what you can do is take a blow dryer and go over the whole thing. The heat will warm everything back up and let the wax soak into the leather. Essentially, what we've got is I put a 3/8 inch drill bit in here to simulate a 3/8 inch fire steel, which is what this is for. I've got it in here just holding it to its shape while this finishes cooling down. I kind of polished this off so hopefully you can see where the knife blade is, and when you pop the knife out, which now needs to be cleaned, I'm not too terribly worried about the blade, and I've got to go through and do some more polishing to it anyway. I just wanted to get the sheath done. You can see the sheath holds its form now, which is exactly what I wanted. Blade goes in like this, sets on your hip, hangs on this. I've got to do the second loop yet, and again I'm still kind of fiddling with some ideas on how I want to do that, but I mean I'll probably end up just doing a basic one like I showed you earlier, but a couple of other different ideas are running through my head. I just wanted to show you where I'm at here with this, and you know, for all intents and purposes, aside from some curing and some polishing and some final stuff, you can see it's actually lightening up as we're sitting here. I need a lint-free cloth to be doing this with, but once it finishes, it dries and done. That's it. Exactly what I was looking for.